Welcome to Dream Sleepy ASMR. Tonight, we'll take a gentle ride through snow-covered valleys and quiet towns. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let your mind drift. As we begin a quiet train ride through winter landscapes. The evening sky had turned a soft shade of violet, the last light of day melting gently into the horizon. Snowflakes floated lazily through the air, dancing like tiny feathers as they drifted down upon the quiet station. A faint whistle echoed in the distance, the low, soothing hum of an approaching train. Sitting alone on a wooden bench, Elena pulled her woolen scarf a little tighter around her neck. Her breath fogged up in the crisp winter air, forming tiny clouds that disappeared as quickly as they came. The sign above her head read, Northwind Station. She had been waiting for this train, not to reach a destination, but to escape the noise of the world for a little while. The old station clock ticked softly, each second blending with the whisper of falling snow. Then, out of the white haze, a light appeared, golden, glowing, and calm. The Midnight Express rolled gently into view, its carriages shimmering faintly beneath the lanterns. Elena stood up, brushing the snow off her coat, and stepped aboard. Inside, the air was warm and still. Velvet seats, old brass lamps, and the faint scent of pine and cinnamon filled the carriage. There were only a few passengers, a man reading a book, an old woman knitting quietly, and a young boy staring dreamily out of the frosted window. Elena took her seat near the back, where she could watch the snow-covered landscapes pass by. The train began to move slowly at first, then with a soft, rhythmic hum. Outside, the world turned into a white dream. Fields of snow stretched endlessly under the pale moonlight, interrupted only by distant forests and tiny cottages with smoke rising from their chimneys. The gentle rocking of the carriage felt like a lullaby. She leaned her head against the window. The cold glass tingled against her skin, but it was comforting. The rhythmic clack-clack of the train wheels echoed softly, blending with the whisper of wind. It felt timeless, peaceful. As the train moved deeper into the countryside, the lights inside dimmed. The passengers grew quieter, lost in their own winter dreams. Elena closed her eyes, letting the sounds carry her, the train, the snow, the faint hum of the engine. She wasn't sure when she began to drift, but suddenly the soft murmur of reality seemed to fade away. When she opened her eyes again, something had changed. The window no longer showed the snowy plains she expected. Instead, it glowed faintly blue, as if the snow outside was lit from within. She blinked. The world outside shimmered like glass. The trees were taller now, covered in icicles that sparkled like diamonds. Even the sky seemed alive, filled with soft streaks of light, the northern lights, twisting and swaying above the horizon like ribbons of magic. Elena leaned forward, amazed. The other passengers seemed frozen in place, their faces serene as if asleep. Only she seemed awake. Then the voice came. Soft and distant, like a whisper carried through the snow. "Welcome, traveler of dreams." Elena turned. No one was there. "You've entered the winter passage, a place where the heart remembers peace." Her breath caught. The train hummed softly beneath her feet. Through the frosted glass, she could see shapes, glowing silhouettes gliding along the snowbanks beside the train. They looked like spirits made of mist, their outlines shimmering with light. One of them turned toward her window and smiled. A soft, kind smile that seemed to reach right into her heart. Elena felt warmth wash over her, a gentle calm that filled every corner of her being. The spirit raised its hand and pressed it against the window, leaving a trail of frost shaped like a snowflake. Inside the frost, faint images began to appear, memories. A childhood home. A fire crackling in the hearth. Laughter. her father's voice reading bedtime stories in the glow of a winter lamp. She realized this wasn't just a train through winter landscapes. It was a journey through her own heart, through the peaceful places she had forgotten. The train continued on, gliding silently through silver forests and moonlit valleys. Each scene outside seemed to tell a story of stillness, of calm, of the quiet beauty that winter brings. Elinor watched as the world shifted again. Now the train passed over a frozen lake, where snowflakes danced like stars over glassy ice. The moon hung low, casting a silver path across the surface. Somewhere in the distance, a wolf howled, not a cry of fear, but a song of belonging. The sound echoed softly in the night, and the train whistle replied, a long, gentle note that melted into the snowy wind. Elinor smiled faintly. Her eyelids felt heavier. The rhythmic motion of the train lulled her further into calm. She closed her eyes again, and this time she didn't resist the pull of sleep. The whisper came once more, just before she drifted away. Rest now, traveler, the night carries your dreams safely. And as the train rolled quietly through the endless white landscape, Elinor dreamed of warmth, of home, of light, and of peace. The train rolled on through the night, its rhythmic hum blending with the soft whisper of snow outside. Elinor drifted somewhere between waking and dreaming, her mind filled with the shimmering images she had seen, glowing spirits, silver forests, and the quiet smile pressed into frost on her window. When she opened her eyes again, the world outside had changed once more. The landscape was softer now, as if wrapped in mist. The trees were gone, replaced by wide, open fields blanketed in snow. Above them, the aurora moved like slow ocean waves of light, gliding across the dark velvet sky. Inside the carriage, the lamps had dimmed to a golden glow. The few passengers who remained sat quietly, their faces calm, some gently sleeping. Elinor stretched slightly and looked toward the front of the train. She noticed something she hadn't before, a narrow door leading to another carriage, its handle glowing faintly silver. Something within her, curiosity, perhaps, whispered that she should go. She stood, the floor creaking softly under her boots, and walked down the aisle. The gentle sway of the train made every step slow and dreamlike. When she reached the glowing door, she hesitated only for a moment before opening it. A soft gust of cold air brushed her face. The new carriage looked completely different. Instead of seats, there were windows stretching from floor to ceiling, each showing not the same view outside, but a different moment in time, like windows into other worlds. In one, she saw a frozen waterfall sparkling in the moonlight. In another, a snow-covered bridge where a child waved at a passing train. And in another still, a cabin filled with laughter and light. It was like walking through a gallery of memories, hers, and perhaps those of others who had taken this train before. Then, near the end of the carriage, she saw him. A tall man dressed in a long navy coat with silver buttons. His cap was trimmed with frost, and his eyes reflected the soft blue of the northern lights. He turned as she approached, smiling gently. "Good evening, traveler," he said, his voice deep and calm. "You've wandered far from your seat." I wasn't sure where this led," Elinor replied softly. The door was glowing. He chuckled, the sound warm and kind. "Most doors glow only for those who are meant to open them." "Who are you?" she asked. "I am the conductor of the winter train," he said with a slight bow. "We travel through the quiet places of the heart, where memories sleep and dreams awaken." Elinor blinked, unsure if she was still dreaming. "And where are we going?" He gestured toward the great windows. Every passenger arrives at their own destination. Some find forgotten dreams, some find peace, and a few, like you, come seeking something they lost long ago. His eyes met hers, gentle but knowing. She hesitated. I don't even know what I've lost. He smiled faintly. You will. He turned and began walking toward a door at the far end of the carriage. Come, Miss Alina. The next stop is yours. The train began to slow. Outside, the snow fell thicker, the flakes glowing softly in the moonlight. Through the mist ahead, a faint light shimmered, a small station nestled in a valley of silver trees. The sign above it read, Stillwater Station. As the train hissed to a stop, Alina followed the conductor out onto the platform. The air was crisp, filled with the quiet hum of winter. The sky above was painted in swirls of blue and violet. The station looked untouched by time, wooden beams, lanterns glowing with gentle firelight, and benches dusted with soft snow. Where are we? She whispered. The conductor's eyes glimmered. A place between the world of dreams and memory. You have arrived where your heart needed to go. He pointed toward a narrow path leading away from the station, lined with lanterns that flickered like stars. Alina hesitated. Should I follow it? He nodded. Every traveler does, but fear not, the path always brings them home. With a deep breath, Alina began walking. The snow crunched softly under her boots, and each lantern she passed seemed to hum faintly, like a lullaby. After a while, she came upon a small clearing surrounded by silver birch trees. At its center stood a frozen pond, smooth as glass. And there, sitting beside the pond, was a little girl, no more than 6 years old, bundled in a red coat. The girl looked up as Alina approached, her cheeks rosy and her eyes bright with wonder. Alina froze. The child was her younger self, exactly as she remembered from old photographs. Hello, the little girl said softly, smiling. You found me. Alina felt tears warm her eyes. I didn't even know you were missing. The little girl nodded. You forgot me when you grew up. You got busy. You stopped playing in the snow. You stopped listening to the stories. Alina knelt down, her heart aching with both sadness and love. I didn't mean to forget. The child reached out and touched her hand. It's okay. I waited. I knew you'd come back. They sat together for a long while in silence, watching the snow fall over the frozen pond. The world felt still, peaceful, eternal. Then the little girl spoke again. Do you hear it? Alina listened. At first, there was only the whisper of the wind. Then, slowly, she began to hear it, a soft, distant melody. It was coming from the forest, a tune woven of flutes and bells, like a lullaby made of light. It's the song of winter, the girl said. It helps people remember who they are. Alina smiled faintly, tears glistening on her lashes. It's beautiful. Come dance with me, the child said. And so, under the falling snow and the shimmering light of the aurora, Alina and her younger self began to spin and twirl upon the frozen pond. Their laughter echoed through the stillness, blending with the gentle song of winter. For a few precious moments, Alina felt weightless, free of time, free of worry, free of the noise of the world. She felt whole again. When the music faded, the little girl smiled and stepped back. You have to go now, she said softly. Your train is waiting. Alina nodded, though her heart ached to stay. Will I ever see you again? The girl tilted her head, her eyes bright. I'm always with you. Just close your eyes, and I'll be there in every quiet snowfall, in every peaceful dream. She stepped backward into the mist, fatting gently until only the soft glow of her red coat remained. Then, that too dissolved into the falling snow. Alina stood alone for a moment, the sound of the winter wind wrapping around her like a gentle song. Then she turned and followed the lantern path back to the station. The conductor waited by the train door, smiling as she approached. Did you find what you were looking for? Eleanor nodded, her voice quiet but steady. Yes, I found me. He tipped his hat. Then your journey is complete. She climbed aboard, returning to her seat by the window. The world outside began to move again as the train glided forward. Snow drifted softly past the glass, and somewhere in the distance, the lights of dawn began to appear faint and pink, spreading gently across the horizon. Eleanor rested her head against the window, her heart lighter than it had been in years. The conductor's voice echoed softly through the carriage. We thank you for traveling aboard the winter train. May your dreams be peaceful and your heart forever calm. The sound faded into the rhythmic hum of the train wheels, a lullaby of motion and rest. As the sky grew brighter, Eleanor's eyes slowly closed. And when the train finally disappeared into the golden mist of morning, she was fast asleep, smiling, peaceful, and home at last. And as Eleanor's winter journey comes to an end, so too does our quiet ride through the snowy landscapes of dreams. Thank you for joining us tonight on Dream Sleepy ASMR. May your dreams be calm, your heart warm, and your night endlessly peaceful.